Perspective. Perspective.
Perspective.
What up? This is your host, Vontae Swank, and you are now tuned into Perspective Junkies. On last week's episode, we had a little discussion about leadership, and we got down to the nitty-gritty of the Tory and Meg situation. Great episode. But on this week, we're talking about the political races going on, a couple current event topics that we had. So, you know, the drill, just stay tuned, stay locked, and most importantly, enjoy that show. This is your host, Vontae Swank. And you are now tuned into Perspective Junkies. Yes, sir. And I got my co-host with me.
C. Swank, a.k.a. Captain Controversy, but now known as Kodiocrities.
K. Swank, KB knows most. D5 athlete on Instagram.
Hey, we feeling good. It's a gloomy day right now. But we're making the best out of it because we at the intellection section with discussions.
I'm moving the chess piece for people that ain't watching. Let y'all know how we did that. But
so, you know, we got to kick it off and we got to discuss what's really going on in the world right now. That's most important. That man Bron trying to get a ring.
Hey, for Kobe.
For Kobe.
For the Bean. And people like Caruso and Danny Green are trying to ruin his legacy.
Okay, for the non-sports fans, let's go ahead and update you guys. We're now getting ready for Game 6. It is a series that was anticipated to be kind of a blowout because you thought the Lakers might destroy the Heat, but they actually put up a little fight. Jimmy Butler is cementing his Hall of Fame legacy right now.
For sure.
And they just came off of a game where LeBron made a decision to pass the ball out last play of the game to a wide open Danny Green, who of course missed.
Let's rewind it. Can we give a little bit more credit and a little more backstory? He was making a historic run.
Historic
run. Yeah.
Guys, I'm going to give you the basketball player's perspective.
Okay, perspective.
Basically, last play of the game to go up by 1. You know, LeBron James is considered the greatest in the world and a big stain on his legacy is they say he's not a killer. He don't got that killer in him like Kobe and Mike.
All right.
So it was him and Jimmy Butler, 2 best players, 1-on-1, seconds running off the clock. LeBron blows past Jimmy Butler, gets to the block, and of course, 2 more people came on. It's a triple team at this point.
Mm-hmm.
LeBron, if 3 people are guarding you, 2 people are open. 1 is your man and 2 other people are helping off. What's the smart play, guys?
Make the pass.
Make the pass to a NBA Finals shooter, not just a shooter, an NBA Finals shooter.
Right. A champion.
A 2-time champion.
Mm-hmm.
Also about to get his 3rd ring on a 3rd different team. He made the pass. And of course, Danny Green's been stinking it up. If it was Paul George, niggas would have killed Paul George, literally at this point. Blew the shot. Then Markieff Morris got the offensive rebound with enough time to make a play.
Here.
He threw the ball out of bounds, ruined the whole game with 3 other people wide open. So that's this whole scenario. But what do you guys think?
I have to agree with Kenzie on that. It's the right basketball play. I understand people's feeling like the best player should want the ball and should make the last play and put the weight on his shoulders. But in that position, I would say that he was going to attack and he literally just got in a situation where the best play was to pass it. So I don't really understand everybody's. I understand it. I feel as though people, they're going to complain if the results aren't a win no matter what. So if he shoots that shot, it's like, that was a poor shot. 3 people are on you. This guy thinks he's all that. If he passes it, it's like, this guy doesn't want it.
Exactly.
Right, he's nervous. He's just quitting. He just doesn't want his team he doesn't will his team to the win like Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. I'm like, this guy is versatile. He's scoring the same amount, more efficient, and he gets other people involved. I can't fault him for making the right play. Like, I think he made the right play.
He was a great play.
Yeah. And more importantly, we got the stat line right here. So, what was really going on, Kenzie?
Guys, this is the one thing I hate. LeBron had 40 points, 13 rebounds, 7 assists, 3 steals.
That's an immaculate game.
That's a full plate.
Anthony Davis had 28 points, 12 rebounds.
A pretty good game.
Medium high.
Caldwell Pope had 16 points, 3 rebounds.
He came in clutch that game, the last game, game 5.
After that, on the Lakers roster, nobody scored double digits. Danny Green had a poor man's 8. Kuzma had a sorry-ass 7.
He said a poor man's 8.
And Markieff Morris, this is still questionable. Now, I want to take some blame off of Danny Green, Markieff Morris, and LeBron and throw some at the head coach. Because in what, basketball game do you have a man with 0 points in the game at this point?
He's in there. He's supposed to be guarding Jimmy Butler, but he's been getting bodied all
Bodied by Jimmy Butler.
Who are you referring to?
Markieff Morris had 0 points, 1 rebound, 0 assists.
Who would you have had? Who would you have wanted in that position
in that game? Anybody but Markieff Morris. I would have put Dwight Howard in for a putback.
Well, what if you get fouled or something for the last bucket?
Yeah, Markieff Morris is just a better big man shooter, I would say. Out of the options.
He is, but at the end of the day, Markieff Morris was terrified to shoot it. So I'd rather have a super athletic rebounder in that guy to just dunk it back.
And they say hindsight is 100%. So I understand that observation, but Markieff Morris do knock down some big shots. So
you can't say that.
Yeah, I'll give you that because he was playing bad that game.
You can't go 48 minutes, 0 points, 1 rebound.
Yeah, that's real. That's real. But let's end that there. We don't want to go too long. Let's go into a little bit of politics. Recently, this last week, the vice presidential debate came on. There's a lot of talk about that. I want to get you guys' opinion. Kamala versus Pence. Who won? What did you like? What stance did you know what I'm saying? Did you agree with? Did you disagree with? Let's hear it.
See, the scary thing about politics, the scariest of it all, is this because we've kind of grown to have a distrust with our politicians, it's hard to really see where the line is of are you doing this for voters or are you doing this for, for your natural behavior? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so throughout this whole thing, I've been wanting to just side with Democrats because, that's what we've been taught to. And they're obviously leaning towards our movement and what we've been going on. They've definitely spoken out and sided with us on most of our ideas and most of our conflicts that we had. And on the other hand, we've had Republicans kind of rounding it up against us. So it was natural to go for the Democrats. But in that same whole thing, we can kind of see that Joe Biden is really not 100%. The man is really not 100%. And so I want to rock with Kamala, but it's I can't forget that. What she's really up to.
She did some weird shit.
Yeah, so but throughout this debate, I liked her little spice, and she was definitely coming very strategic. But it just at the end of the day, I still got my eye one eye open on her at the end of the day. But overall, she won that debate. That man Pence, it was just you could kind of see how debate was getting transferred over to Twitter. And then if it gets transferred over to Twitter, minds are swayed by different things other than just what they are saying. So people talking about his corona eye, that was hilarious. And how we had a GIF already for Kamala. It was damn, this is happening fast. I ain't had time to think about it. It was on Twitter instantly. And so it's you can see how they could win through the Twitter talk. They can really win an election almost, I feel
at this point they can.
And at the end of the day, I don't feel like most people know what's going on with them. Whatever they're really talking about, it's just oh, she's spicy. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not mad because I do think we need to get Trump out right now just because of how divisive he is. But I still got my eye off her. That's what I got to say on it right now.
At this point, I want to put it in just sports terms. It's either we're going to lose by 20 or lose by 30, and I'll lose by 20 with Biden and Kamala. And there's a lot of things that she was doing in her past, with what she was doing with, what was she with before she got to this vice president position. But I feel like she's trying to, just black her way into it. Like, vote me, I'm black. Like, she gonna.
But she do got a strong core behind her.
Very, very strong core. And, when your competition is like Pence and Trump, it's not.
Yeah.
She gonna get the dub. But, no politician that you're gonna vote for, you 100% agree with everything that they're doing. You're gonna go to the closest one. And I also think Kamala won that debate.
I just almost worry that, like, when I was watching it, I can see how both of those individuals weren't gonna, like, cross over and grab some of the people from a different, from their group. So, like, Pence, his language, like, it's much similar to Trump. It's like, we know what kind of white people that's really gonna attract, and they're not gonna look at Kamala like, you kind of got a point, sister. I might go over there with you. They kind of like, I'm going with Pence. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just seemed like, are we going to attract any new voters to come sway aside from that kind of conversation?
You got to have a very distinctive taste to openly support Trump and Pence. Like, everything you believe in is going to stay there. I don't know. I can't see what would change your mind ever.
But, Kodiakides, I know you have something to say about this.
Oh man, I'm taking the tie off on this one, guys. For me, contrary to popular opinion, I think in Democrat world, I didn't think she presented her points very well. I felt like for our age group, which we're gonna say black young adults 18 to 25, a lot of the emphasis was on her ability to, I guess, try to control the conversation with, like, I'm speaking. And I think my peers interpreted that as a win, like strength. Whereas I think a lot of people, especially older people, especially people who may not share the same race, interpret it as just kind of like being extra, like the type of person you don't want to do a project with, like kind of catty. I don't think they necessarily took it as this person is the most competent on the issues. I felt like he delivered the messages a little bit better. He has the traits of somebody who is, like, closely associated with, like, bad, outdated principles. But for me, I didn't say there's no talking point from Kamala that I'm like, yeah, that's something that I really agree with. You know what I'm saying? I think, in my opinion, and this is something I say about, like, I always have something about the culture. I don't think that it's to anybody's benefit to have loyalty to a party. It's not really, especially not for us, if we're, I guess, lagging behind economically. You should just really go for, I guess, actions and what you can see and what you can prove. And for me, I would say the track record of Pence compared to the track record of Kamala doesn't necessarily, she wouldn't necessarily take that dub, in my opinion. She didn't out argue. So I'm like, I don't know where the area where people be like, yeah, I didn't get that she got a dub out of that. I think that the people who like her are gonna say that's a dub, but I don't believe that she really won that. Whereas I believe Trump really did lose the first one because he was too
ignorant.
Yeah, that he really did have a bad performance because he just did too much, like, over talking. But I think in the second one, where they're both a little bit more relaxed and you actually heard more of a developed message about the points, I think that's where Pence did a better job. But also, I think we're just what Devontae said, there has to be more political awareness, like, or about issues and things of that nature. I think too much when I talk to my friend, I'm like, oh, so what do you think? Because, I ask questions to everybody nowadays when I'm doing the podcast just to get a pulse on the culture. I think the message is mainly anti-Trump, which is horrible. The message should always be like, okay, what do you feel about these taxes? What do you feel about it's going here? If it's not that, then it's not rooted in anything that's of quality. Like, your reasoning for doing that is just, it's not strong enough for me. Like, I think it has to be more than just this guy is associated with something, because that's not quality. Because in the future there will always be politicians that don't look or don't have the vibe that you may go for, but you still need to be picking it based off of who do you feel is most able to get the job done. And just like what Vontae said, it's clear that Joe's not solid. Like, if somebody's senile, the other person's got to be pretty, like, a different caliber bad in their actions, not in the divisiveness associated with them. Because I believe the divisiveness associated with Trump, I think he could have said what he said, some crazy things in 2016 and done nothing for 4 years. People been like, forget that dude. Like, I don't think it's an ounce of redemption. I don't think he can make any leeway for the people that have decided, like, hey, I hate you. So, I don't know. I definitely have a different viewpoint about the debates. I didn't feel like that was a dub for Kamala, but I know a lot of my friends did. So, it's just interesting. We'll see how that goes.
My response is, first, I would say that they were both pretty dodgy with questions. Like, when questions are asked, they were kind of like not directly answered. And that's just politics in general. But I would say Pence got more of that like forwarded to him. Like, a lot more people had came out of that discussion and really thought that he was more dodgy with his questions rather than over Kamala. So, like, another thing, he was also like very long-winded and like couldn't get his point out in that 2-minute allowance that they gave him. Like, he kept having to go over, and I felt like Kamala was like direct, straight to the point with it, and she was able to get in what she wanted to get in for her 2 minutes. And so, like, that's like she was showing how she could adapt to that situation. And old Pence was like kept on like trying to speak over the moderator in order to finish his long-winded statement that don't even really answer the question. So it's kind of like, that's where I kind of give Kamala the edge, because she seemed like with that control of the conversation, she was able to like voice what she wanted to say in a well-versed manner too, as well, in the allotted time, even though I believe the time should be longer. Like, especially for these individuals, I feel like they were both able to speak without it being so disrespectful and ignorant like Trump was. And like, sometimes 2 minutes really isn't enough to like really have a true conversation. Like, if we just had 2 minutes to talk on here, right, we would be getting into a thought right when we getting into it. Like,
and I heard that what's it called? The moderator was a little bit biased because the time for Pence was a little bit shorter. Like someone was gonna, you know what I'm saying? But I can believe it, because when I was watching, I felt like when she did go over, it wasn't the same energy to end that message. You know what I'm saying? Like, I guess how I put this. Like, Kenzie, you say you feel like you had something on your mind you was going to say.
I was just, like I said, it's not even a battle who's better. It's like who's more worse than the other, and still Pence is worse. She's bad, but he's worse. So I can't even.
Why?
You can't.
And that's what I mean. Like, we gotta have like it should be for the amount of energy or like emotion we have in our response to it. You gotta have at least one. Like, we got quality. Like, there's people who really compare Trump to Hitler. Like, or make, you know what I'm saying? Like, to me, the if we had that, it has to be some. I have to get something. I'm like, this is the thing. Like, when you enacted this policy, and I'm like, I don't quite have that. It's strong. You know what I'm saying? But okay, put it like this: just on not even trying to be politically correct, not even no real reasoning or justification. Does Kamala represent what you think the first African American woman in the vice president position should be like? And to me, it should be like, even with Barack, for example, I think he was like, I don't think it can get too much more eloquent. I don't think it can get too much more smooth than Barack Obama. You know what I'm saying? Like, we might be able to get a guy who does more effectiveness, but as far as the way he carried himself, I don't think you can really beat that. Like, he did it as well as possible. I don't think Kamala is I think there's a lot of women. I'm like, yo, I can get that, and I can speak better on it. I'm a little smoother. My past history is a little bit, cleaner. Like, I think we could. I'm like, that just doesn't strike me as and I feel as though just how I know African Americans will push the message, hey, because they're African American, we should support them and have their back. I think also African Americans have to think, because we're African Americans and we have pride in ourselves, get our cream of the crop before you make us, unify behind it. There are cream of the crop black politicians. Take the cream of the best, baddest,
But you can't say that. That's like saying if Stephen Curry was good, he'll be in the finals instead. He's not though. He's not good right now. His ankle hurt. You can't speak on what we have. We gotta just deal with what we getting right now.
Well, what I'm saying is that I can speak on it until she becomes president. It's not. But also think about this. She didn't, in her own individual campaign, she just didn't win the black.
Yeah.
The black. If you don't get the black pick, what are we really doing here?
That's the first thing I want to say. She's not getting the dub. She's not blacking her way into my heart at all. She don't even seem like a real.
She does, and that's the attempt, and it just seems too.
Forced. She forcing that black.
Hold on. First,
you about to say something?
First, I have to say, because she really did not win the black vote on that. I agree with that part, and she was not my favorite female African American candidate. Tulsi Gabbard was a little bit more of my alley, but I see what purpose that she served for this role, because she really had a track record that could be respectable by the quote-unquote right side, with her being law enforcement and that being a hot issue right now. So it's because she had that on her resume, it made her fit for what she, where she was at right now, because that's what Joe Biden was kind of missing. Because of course for some reason he can't say law and order. I don't know. That was a big hot topic.
Right.
But because he has somebody who represents law and order with him, it should be able to sway some of the other side. And so that's where I'm saying she fits in the criteria just to swing some votes, because she definitely has a big supporting of Howard. Howard is big off the top,
right.
AKA big off the top. So, and she has a professional, a black professional mannerism to her. So it's
for sure she the best black person to win the whitest vote. That's the blackest you gonna get that can win the white vote.
But no way. The reason I said no way is because the campaign for the Democrats, if your presidential candidate does not want to get behind law and order or too much support of police, it doesn't really matter what the vice president's history is. It's suggested that they're going to sign you're going to back the presidential candidate. So it's you can't, what in the Democratic Party, it's not really popular to support those type of things right now. So if her push in her past is that I was big on that, even if it may appeal to the Republicans, I don't think it would appeal. It's going to come off as ingenuine to the Democrats and ingenuine to the Republicans. Either way, you're either capping about how much you're deep into law enforcement now, or you're capping about, what it was in the past. Regardless, it creates I think it takes away from his, I don't know if that was the best candidate for him to pick in that. It didn't, popular vote wise, I don't think she's a horrible person. I'm just saying, I don't know if that was the best wingman in this situation to really because I'm you're coming off already when you said you ain't black, you vote for me. Your real reputation is that black people just blindly doing silly decisions. I don't really want to be. I wouldn't have picked someone who could also emphasize that even more. I would have strayed away from the situation. Let's get out of this.
We gotta look at it though from a realistic perspective. Okay, the Democrats, they crooked too. So they
100%.
obviously didn't want to rock with Bernie Sanders, and I feel like they didn't want to rock with Tulsi Gabbard just because they were less controllable. And so if you think about the sectors of people who could be controlled, Joe Biden and Kamala seem like they willing to do what it take to get the win, because of that seemed like her history. She doing what it take to get the win, whether it got to be stepping on folks or whatever. But in the grand scheme of things, I don't know. They all that's what it'd be it's definitely worse versus worse.
It's worse versus worse. You can't.
But at the end of the day, we got somebody that we could stand behind. And do y'all believe that she would be a poor vice president based on that? Like,
yes.
How so?
You said a poor vice president?
Yeah, like, how would she really have that? Like, okay, with her little red flags, like, how do you think they would surface over into the vice presidency?
I don't think she would. I guess one of the big flaws that people would say is her participation in the imprisonment of a lot of people for like petty weed instances. So one thing that you could do to remedy that is can you fix that law? Can you improve laws, or can you expedite the legalization of marijuana in different states? I don't feel that energy from her. I don't feel her pushing that.
But if she does it, what you saying?
You did a good job. I mean, if you do it, you do it. I ain't been working for the like my thing is for the self interest of the country, like the best interest of the country. So I just saying she doesn't strike me as that. I do think that a lot of their policies are gonna, it's gonna have a obvious increase in taxes. But if it comes from very effective healthcare, then that could be something. But if not, then it's just that would be something that people are looking for. Do you improve our economy? Is anything better with healthcare? Yes. Does education go up? Like some of the basic determinants. And I'm like, you got to understand that Trump was doing good with the economy prior to the coronavirus situation. You have to throw in his corona mistake, but you also have to add in that the numbers have been solid. You know what I'm saying? Like he's done a good job of. So it's like to me, I'm like,
sounds like you're voting Trump.
I'm like, you ain't doing me vote Trump.
You want to talk about that some more?
I'm not gonna say that. I can't say that. All I'm saying is that to me is I just see like I'm a big person about preparing yourself to like you gotta be smart and understand that bravery may not come in like physical ways. It could come in the expression of ideas. And in this period right now, I think I could say that and people really are like, man, you want some wild stuff. I'm like, it just needs to be politics though.
You about to vote Trump and you listen to Tory album and like,
oh my gosh,
wow, bro.
But you got to think about this. Wait till the last couple of questions of the show, and then you tell me how you feel about Kenzie.
I mean, okay. To wrap up this situation, I feel like how we say it's worse versus worse. It's like basically somebody who cares to fake it because they think we are powerful enough to make some type of imprint on the vote. And then versus those who don't even care to like, I don't even need to black vote. Like, I don't even need to do nothing because I don't value what they can even bring.
Straight on the niggas.
Not even that. It's more so, I feel like he'll say stuff that we really should like that shit. But then the dude's like, not you. No, let me tell y'all, I told you this before. I'll tell you this again so y'all understand like the real truth about I told you we were looking on the Pyramids of Diamonds page and they said, if Trump could give all black people reparations like 20,000, would y'all vote for him? And people in the comments like, hell no, can't give me with that. Nope. And I was like, what?
You tell me 20 bands are all you need for a vote?
That's pretty. I'll take your money, sir.
Yeah. Y'all like, I gotta stay down. And then you vote for someone who'll give you nothing. What would be our benefits of trying to make a like, we too good for your money message right now? That's all we should. This is the government. This isn't like a.
So you basically think they're not. Joe Biden and Kamala and Pence and Trump aren't gonna make. They're not different enough for you to really just sway towards Joe Biden.
My feeling is that if you're not a game changer in the economics, like you're not going to improve our pockets. If you're not coming directly, then now you're just competing against like statistics. And what I'm saying is that the statistics is not a good matchup. Now, if you were battling like, oh yeah, I really have some economic policies, like this gonna change stuff for y'all, directly y'all, then we have a good case. If you're just saying, hey, this dude bad, we gotta get in here. I'm like, yo, give me more.
I could agree with you 100% wholeheartedly, but that 20 bands ain't finna hit no account, so they still got it.
I'm using that as an example to prove that we are not basing our opinions on evidence of success or even the promise of success. Like we are just, when you are that deep in, where someone could do literally the biggest act for black people ever in the history of America, and you like, that ain't enough. You think just because of that I'm gonna vote for you? Yeah, you definitely should. Like, there's nothing coming better than 20,000 in the pockets of all. It's just not realistic. Like,
this is what I'll say to that. I think it's easy to be noble in a scenario. But if it really came down to it, in like realistic terms, like if it was really possible for a president to do it, both of them would be offering it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Right.
So, but let's just say perhaps that Trump could really get it done and Joe couldn't. I think a lot of people would switch, but they just wouldn't. That's not something you want to be on Instagram like, yeah, I would switch. Like a lot of people don't even want to fight that conflict because they know it's not even really that true
right.
of an option.
Well, what if you've seen 47 years with Joe Biden? He's been involved in some laws that have been like pro-segregation.
Yeah.
In his time, he did not improve the economy to the degree of the current president. If I give you these facts on paper and you don't know the guy, it should be easy what your decision is. Mm-hmm. And I'm saying until we get to the point where we can just separate, just like they separate religion from law, you should be able to separate emotion from policy. Like,
I mean, how I look at it, Trump really, he just knew how to publicize himself in a way that was going to be marketable to a certain crowd, and I feel like he chose his crowd, and it ain't us. It's like he do like a little sprinkle of black, like, come on, y'all, I do a lot for y'all. I did more than Abraham Lincoln. That's what that man said. Like, he really just, he's a market genius, and I give him that because he know how to do that right. But at the end of the day, we wasn't the most important vote for him to get, and it worked because we ain't voting like that, I guess. But
yeah, he ain't starting this.
I just don't know if he'll have us in his best interest at the end of the day. Like, he always for the bread first, and I feel like it's a hierarchy of who he gonna look out for, and we not beating out a lot of crowds. You know what I'm saying? So, Democratic Party at least try to portray that they gonna try to come reach for us as a crowd, and I respect that. But it is a lot of emotion in this as well because it's just a hot time right now. So it's all over the place.
True. We'll leave that one right there. But okay, we're entering the Twitter moments. We recently saw a video on Twitter, and I want to speak on it. In the video, there's a dad, there's a daughter. The daughter is playing video games. Once she's playing video games, the dad pauses and says, "Hey, can you take the trash out?" Then he stops and looks at the camera and says, "Parents, you shouldn't do this."
TV show.
You see that the kid is playing. It's almost like trying to stop them mid baseball game. Like, they were teammates, so they can't stop the game.
You gotta let people know she was like on live. She wasn't just playing like a quick game.
She was playing online video games. Yeah. And apparently the message is just, it's okay for parents to negotiate with their kids. It's a healthy way to communicate, etc., etc. And I comment on it. I'm basically saying I disagree with that message. I believe that by telling the kid that it's okay to prolong a more necessary, more serious, in the now, present moment activity and task for a video game, you send a subliminal message that gets ingrained in them throughout their life. And the message is, real serious things that I must do that I don't want to do can be put on hold for me to just have fun in something that's not even in real person. It's not even a real interaction. It's an online game to me. So I kind of didn't like the reference to comparing it to a real game, like you're at a football field and you're taking them off. It's not the same at all. I think that we have to separate online and virtual from real life video games.
Cody's taking his belt off if you don't hear that game pause. Like, Phil, what you say to me, boy?
Yeah, you need to pause that. You need to go ahead and pause. And also, I think what it teaches, and I said this to someone, is that small actions may have large consequences. So, for example, it may not be important that you take the trash out at that moment, but if you didn't take the trash out at the moment, maybe some ants come, maybe the house gets a little more steam, maybe your parents has a loud, aggressive response to you, and it teaches you that this small thing resulted in this. Sometimes I have to just focus on getting something done so I can avoid negative consequences. In the same way that if you don't finish a paper, you may fail a course, which means you may have to take another extra semester, etc., etc. It's a small thing.
Yeah, that's good build up.
But the message is proven. People don't understand, where do you get this message? You don't just learn it when you're 18. You've been taught it through your parents and the way they respond to things. And I think taking away consequences doesn't make children into better adults. It just makes them aimless. It makes them entitled to you're not entitled to all the time if you don't have the resources to just be in leisure. If you don't have those resources, which is money, car, house, then you have to work, you have to do something, you have to always be actively striving towards that. So I think it sent the wrong message, but what did y'all say?
I feel like, it highly depends on if this is like my third time telling them. Like, my first time telling them, I'm like, all right, you got the chance to do it when you get the chance. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll give you this opportunity. It's my first time saying it. Make sure it get done in a timely manner when you get the chance. Second time, shit, I might have to say on the second time, you need to pause that game. Now, like, all right, I done told you that already. Now, all right, it's time to get that done.
3 is a lot.
3 is a lot. So I'm going with 2 now. I'm going to double it down because I don't want to have to repeat myself. At the end of the day, I sound like a strict parent, but that's
good
kind of law.
That's a good parent. That's how it should be.
I agree with Vontae, but also we're a new age of parents. So even though Cody's sounding strict, I don't think he would. I think if Cody walked past his kid on Xbox Live or whatever on PS4 doing what he do online, trying to get some dubs or something, I think Cody would walk by and say, "Hey, when you're done with that, you know what you need to handle." And that's the first way I think I could see myself wording that question. But that means like if I word it that way, it's only gonna be a one-time ask. Right. So if you start another game and you ain't do it, then fuck.
See, that would be the thing I think they might challenge. Like, if they already rocking in a session and it's like, you can keep playing games back to back.
Nah. It's dead.
You saying after that online game, not after the session?
I feel like we too hip as parents to even like, they're not even finna get over on us to even like, you can't stop. I'm like, bro, shut up. Go do that. If you don't, give me the controller.
What Vontae said is what I feel like everybody should. When we take these hypothetical situations, you should take the observations you see of real life situations and apply it to your expectation. In my expectation, children are not mature, disciplined beings like what people are assuming. So for what you guys are saying,
your future children, my child don't know better.
You should assume that your child is average, and then if you see something later, great. But you should assume that they behave like an average kid. The average kid to me, if you were to say at age 6, hey, you know what I'm saying, you know what you have to do when you're done. By age 10, you should expect that to move to the second tier. Like, you have to tell them twice. And I should tell you by age 15, you should expect someone to be fully, I'm going to do it when I feel like it. Because it's the situation of the relationship y'all have to me is how you should be behaving when they about to get ready to get out the house. So when they're getting out the house, you be like, hey, when you're done, you know to finish that. Because you're assuming you kind of set in pace. I'm like, this is a 10-year-old girl in the video. Like, it's a little kid. The younger you are, the shorter your leash should be. And we gradually open it up. But without that, I feel like there's not even a push to be more mature. There's no push for independence when you really have someone who provides everything for you and they have no demands that is not causing discomfort. Like, you're comfortably just chilling. Like, what would make you go harder if every time you wanted something for dinner, your parents cooked it? If every time you wanted those sneakers, they get it? What makes you that desire? Like, I want to do this on my own. It's not always naturally intrinsic there. Like, it doesn't just, when you come out the womb, you want to do your own thing. I think it has to be influenced by the parents creating, like, yeah, we're comfortable, but I'm not your friend. Like, I need to enforce this relationship that I'm not your friend. And life will show you. If the parent doesn't show you that not everybody goes by what you do, life will show you. So what I'm saying is, another example I use for there's consequences. Like, if you go and you have a significant other and one day you don't reply to a text for a long period of time, you would hope that they just say, hey, what's wrong? That may be the day that your girl is fed up. She just leaves you that day. She can't deal with it. Like, there may be dire consequences to small lapses in handling your business. And it has to be kind of taught from an early age. And how do you teach it when a kid has no serious life decisions? Yeah. You teach it with a task. Hey, your bed's not clean. You're punished. Or, hey, Dad said go take out the trash. I didn't say take it out later. This teaches you, like, okay, I'm clearly not the head boss in this house. Like, you just need to learn your role. I think all of that is part of your socialization into the world. Like, becoming okay with authority,
it's always gonna be a case by case thing. Because if you walk past your son and you said take the trash out and he hopped on the game, then of course I'm not gonna say all right after that game. That's pure disrespect. But if bro on the game and you walk by, you see him on the game, like after that game, you know what you need to do. There's a big difference. I think I'll take your approach if I see bro just lollygagging around, like, you know. Once you get older, it do make you mad when you just see somebody chilling. You like, go do something. Go clean
up. I got off work and I see Troy. But that's what Coach about to say too. Is like if it's a pile of it, like it's really like flies and all that.
That's
I think
different.
everybody's what I'm saying is that a lot of times, parents are not speaking if the trash is half full. They don't talk if the dishes is a plate. A lot of times it's a full trash. It's the kitchen is not clean. Like,
you can't say all parents, but there's a reasonable parents.
But that's all it's
some folks is like, you got a spoon in the sink. Come on.
Every parent gonna have that moment.
But your dad ain't never say like, hey, them dishes are looking kind of crazy right now. Y'all do that.
He definitely did that,
but he said it like that. He didn't say like, do it, and then you didn't do it. He whooped your ass.
My dad did that. Like we was cool. Dudes was dunking and touching rim. Like, it was never in my childhood. My dad was like, "Can you?" My dad might just call you and say, "Hey," you come upstairs and you got to go get him a bowl of cereal. That's the type of parents I grew up with. Like, they're not unreasonable.
Don't do it like that.
No, my mom, dad, like, they were very kind, very loving, but they were, you got to do this, and I didn't have any type of resentment because we have been socialized, or we're being taught that you're supposed to make this like the most comfortable ride for the kids. I'm like, kids love their parents. Like, it's only gonna get bad if you really mess up. Like, if you are generally in the area showing love, they're gonna be cool with it, even if you gotta clean some dishes. Like, that's not. I think people are just shying away from being like. I don't want people of my great age, like, before you even have kids, to think that you're supposed to be like trying to be best friends with them. That's what ruins it. Like, let them have their best friends. You got to be the bad guy in order for them to be good guys, or you gonna be just.
So what age you think the little boy was in that video?
It was a girl, but she was like 9 and 10.
9, 10?
Maybe 8 at the youngest, I would say.
You think 8?
What you think?
9, 10?
Yeah, I would say around 8 to 10.
8 to 10.
I can't even tell age no more.
I can't even. Yeah.
All right.
Watch it. Y'all be wrong. Like, she's a 9th grader in high school.
Where she could be.
9th grader in high school. Even this even we gotta go to this next topic, but it also to me is my lack of reverence for video games and like kiddie culture. In order to push that on your kids, like, yo, grow up, like, start liking boys, like, start going to movies. Like,
you pressing your girl to go.
I don't want no daughter who's 16, 17, like, looking at Superman comics and like, it's. I don't want that. I don't really. I'm gonna be honest.
Cody's gonna be one of them parents like, you're not cool enough.
Even if you like it, you need to like it with another. You need to start getting into humans. Yeah. Where are your female friends? Why are y'all not watching movies?
I have a diversion from this topic. It just seems like we should touch on it right now.
Okay.
How much are you gonna keep patrolling like for coolness, like and enforcing little things that make sure that she's on track for coolness, like how, or like, you know, for him or her?
On a scale of 1 through 10 for average parents, probably 7. On a scale of 1 through 10 for black parents, because I feel like sometimes black parents overdo it.
They do overdo it.
Dripped out in Jordan, I ain't going that crazy. But for average parents, they might think, oh, you're doing a little much. But I believe that I can literally secure that your life is the most comfortable. Not in making sure that you're great in sports, not in making sure you're smart, but if I can just make sure you're socialized where you get along with other men and other girls, that can be the biggest thing as a father. I hope, like, and that can be done with done as little simple things. You have a shy daughter. I don't care. You're gonna play sports. You're gonna be around other people. I'm not allowing you to not talk.
Yeah.
Some people be like, "Oh, be comfortable." I'm like, If I have a boy who's overweight, you don't have a choice not to play sports until you get in high school. Some people are like, you shouldn't do that. So, I'm like, I don't care if you cry to practice every day. You're going to be straight. And I'm going to get you in position. If you were not good in school, what would I do? Would I just eat it? Or would I be, you're going to read a book every day?
You're a tutor. You're the tutor. But
you got to do it with social, too. Like,
I feel like it's just setting the pace, you know. Just putting a football or basketball in his hand early, or put him in some sneakers early, like some nice sneakers. I'm not... When it gets to that argument,
like, you gonna have some nice sneakers.
Yeah, you gonna have some shit away with it. Because I hate when I see people like, put that baby don't want no Air Forces, put him in some Skechers. I'm like, nah, my son might not see no Skechers. He might be.
I believe you would be that type of dude because you're ignorant. But
Like,
me,
you
talking because you're ignorant.
me, I'm definitely.
Throwing him in some Doc.
I'm definitely putting my kid. Yeah, he'll have a little baby Doc Martin, but I would definitely put my kid in the light up shoes until he even understands. But even when he's in elementary, I'm not putting him at full swag.
They gonna be
I want him
cool
on the
light
bus,
up
getting
shoes.
drilled, getting joked on, everybody on his head, and then he gets stronger. She gets stronger. She cracks
The
jokes.
family could do that though. I think the family could make up for that really
Hell
cute.
no. You cool as hell in school. You would just eat the jokes at home. Like,
Y'all don't even know.
yeah, but I'm fresh as fuck. You're not gonna care. You need to be like the school. You need to feel equal with people.
Okay, let's use.
I want. Hold on, before you go there, I want to make sure my little man knows the difference of what shoes I'm wearing for what moment. Like he gonna have the forces. I'll get him to light up joints. Like you going to daycare on some shit. Light up joints.
Yeah,
You know
go
that's light up joints,
fuck
right?
them up. Go
Right.
mess them up.
We going out somewhere. Come on, get clean now.
Right.
Yeah.
But when people say, to me, even when you say that, you don't see the person going out as much as you see them at school. So people are gonna think the majority of your sneaker game is light up joints. He doesn't have an Instagram. He doesn't have an Instagram to show his pictures.
Kids not in daycare getting Joe like what the
Right. That's what I'm saying. So like when he can wear light up joints, it's
He gonna
cool.
wear the light up joints during recess on some shit. Like he'll have them in the bag. Like
Yeah, elementary school he gonna know. Switch
I
some
got the light up
shoes.
joints on the.
You know, elementary school he not wearing light up shoes. I don't even know why I said that.
But fifth grade, they like, nah, I'm cool. I'm not in middle school.
Yeah, wear them black forces for recess and then switch them out for lunch. You feel me? It's
How
gonna-
many pair of shoes? Say you good with money. How many pair of shoes is your third grade son getting to begin his school semester?
Of course, me personally, I might. Y'all know I like shoes, so I might mess around. Like, yeah, I just caught them 11s, so got everybody a pair.
It just sickens me to know that their shoes are gonna be growing in every year. I was like,
But I'm gonna be a different man. We're gonna keep these shoes. Like,
I'm letting that man get 3 pair of shoes. He gonna have to rock out to Christmas on them.
Cuddy gonna be rich. Cuddy gonna be walking around rich as hell. Bezos rich.
Bro, I'm telling you,
three pairs of shoes.
in my memory of middle school and high school, out of every dude who had like a lot of gear, I want to say like 80% of them
Look,
non-solid
it's
men,
statistics.
bro. Like
It's statistics.
they just because it's just too much power too young. Too much power too young. I just truly believe in that. You gotta space it out when you're
Said
ready
it not
to really
good
give them
people.
that.
I'm saying you gotta believe that your child can take having power because you gonna teach them what to do with it.
I believe that
You
my
gotta be a
child
good father.
is evil.
You
And it's
think-
my job to get them to straight.
Cody said they
I
come out the
really
womb
know.
guilty.
I
until
really
proven
believe people
innocent.
think with that mindset, like they think that it's crazy that I'm not assuming my child. I'm like, no, don't put any weight until a man is proven. Like, from what I'm assuming he's average smart, average like, and everything. I'm giving him the tools he needs
You
now.
don't give him the attributes early. Though.
Right. It'd be great if he's super smart. It'd be great if he's super.
By
social.
high school, you're gonna want your son dripped out. You're not gonna.
Oh,
be-
high school for sure.
By middle school, you're gonna have your son dripped out. You're
I
not
want him in the 80 percentile. in middle
80.
school. And that's what y'all don't get. Like, that's cool. That's still sneak. I never want him in the flyest. He's got grown man caliber gear before he has a mustache, before he has done anything, before he put any college apps.
I feel like
I don't want that.
We kind of almost minimizing how serious middle school started to get.
I know.
It was getting jokes.
And it gets so serious. People get so self-conscious on that gear. That's why I think for me,
It builds
it's
character.
critical. Yeah, that age. If you bust through that age and you're okay, then it's time. In high school, it's time for me to make it comfortable for you. But in middle school, when you're super aware of your image of yourself, girls are just always on their phones. I don't want to give you the power in the middle of your drug epidemic. Like, you need to wait till you can
But
deal with your drug more.
that could go bad because if your son visually sees y'all like just living good and he's requesting better and you're saying no, he might hate your ass.
He might start trapping.
And I'm willing to sacrifice.
He might turn into Tariq St. Patrick.
I'm willing to sacrifice
Either way.
hatred for him to be a solid man and then look back at 20 like, yeah, possible. Right?
But
And I want to be. I'll sacrifice money to make sure I'm there that he can't.
you must
track.
not know who
Like, I'm gonna be
Tariq St.
home.
Patrick is because he killed his father.
I know what he did. Like, I'm not. That's a
Is this the same rule apply to your daughter too?
same rule apply to my daughter.
So she gotta have a child's hairdo still.
She could be cute. I am one
I
of
thought it was gonna be
I don't
6th grade wearing barrettes and little baubles.
No, see, you guys are going from. I said B. Y'all are doing F. B. That means I'm not one of those people that believes, oh, any age group is cool for girls. Like, nah, this girl looked like an 18-year-old girl in 7th grade. I don't think that's appropriate. Like, you can hold swag off depending on what she's looking like. She's super thick. I'm not letting her wear the skinniest, tightest, curviest pants. I might not let her wear grown woman weave. Like, I don't want it to
look fat till 7th grade.
Hey, you gotta keep her safe until it's time for her to throw it away. You don't just. I don't believe people really understand that they don't have to do that. You don't have to have your daughter in full power 8th grade.
I think my baby mother
she can't drive.
I think it's hard when you turn into the dad that's like, that's your little girl. She just like, can I keep the new shoes that everybody's got? You gotta look at her like,
that's one aspect.
No.
That's one aspect
or
that I'm a fail in, because if I got it, niggas gonna have
all y'all doing is saying yes for them to grow up and be the 19-year-old girls is like, I can't deal with no nigga that no money. Yeah, my daddy always had money. My daddy always had something with me, so I cannot deal with y'all, bro. Oops. And now she messing with a drug dealer.
But it's not even
freshman year of college.
It's not even on like, if my son is a shitty kid, he's not gonna get it. But he always gonna have to achieve something for me. Like, oh, you want the Jordans? What's your progress report look like?
He bring home based on the rewards.
Yeah, it's I'm gonna reward my child.
I don't even know the official thing. I actually heard that for kids, this type of reward system is negative because it trains them that they should do good things to receive good things in life. Like, you should say good job, but you shouldn't make a huge deal out of big things, and you shouldn't make a huge deal out of small, like they're negative, because they're looking for an outward validation for their activity. You know what I'm saying?
Like, that son go for like 50 points in a 6th grade game. You gonna bless him with something after, or would you say like, hey, if you average 30 this season, I'm gonna get you the new Xbox?
To me, option B is better.
If you okay, so you're just saying,
but option A, even option A, I wouldn't mind. I'm saying I would never be the type of guy like. Because your kid could drop 30 multiple times. Yeah. Nigga, you did it once, cool.
Well, then
next time that we get
I would switch it. I would switch it up. Like, hey, if you average 30 this season, I got you.
Yeah, and I don't even say that's necessarily like a problem. It's just about what else are you rewarding, whatever. Because I didn't necessarily agree with the statement that if you don't reward, I'm just saying I have heard that from it was a famed child psychologist.
I mean, like, all A's, I feel like that's a little something.
All A's is good.
I'm gonna bless my son, but it's always gonna be a stipulation with it. It's never just gonna be me on my way. Like, yeah, I bought the Xbox, PS4, and a 50-inch.
But let me also specify.
Good, but I got that for you.
Yeah, let me specify for the listeners. What they're not getting, and I'm trying to say, is that I would not. I am not going to.
Let me clarify, not for the listeners, for these niggas.
I am not going to arm them with enough swag that they become like they are dominating the sex appeal level of their grade.
But what if you raise such a great son where you like, I gotta allow him to skip some levels. I gotta give him game early.
Junior and senior year can go crazy. A lot of men ruin their lives.
Like fifth grade, your son is just like achieving the greatest, like everything. You just like, this is a good boy. Or like, this is a great young man.
But he's a little boy. You give him one new pair of sneakers mid-year. I know he's gonna be like, thanks, Dad. But if you compare him with the mindset, hey, like you get 8 sneakers a year, like. What he gonna expect the car?
But it's not. He is like, my son graduated high school. If I got money, he gonna get a whip.
No, in high school he should. That's a great goal.
No, not in high school.
I said middle school.
Huh? You went to graduation for that?
Yeah, riding the bus builds character. He gonna ride.
Now that's what I would expect. Now if you gonna let him ride the bus, then yeah, keep him icy.
Yeah, cause
if you gonna do that, I would keep my son icy if he riding the bus till senior year.
I would give my son a car maybe junior year, but like people when we got in the 9th grade and people was driving to school already, I'm like, damn.
Yeah, I'm not giving my son. He would have to have like above 3.5 to get his sophomore year.
His sophomore year.
I told my girl that I'm like, I'm not giving no kid a car until their junior year unless they have like not just a 3-wheeler. We talking about you gotta be
4.
nice. I don't trust kids.
But you gotta be
that young, like
above average maturity.
Right. Why would you give I wouldn't just give if you have a daughter who's goofy, why would you just give her a whip just because she made a 3.1? Like,
I'm not doing it.
3.1, that ain't even no.
But I would wait almost after high school.
I feel you though. That's a crazy thing. But I would definitely I want to get my kids cars in high school, but it's crazy that you.
Especially if he ain't like what you need a whip for, nigga.
He fought me on the clothes and the shoes.
That's
right. That's gonna make you.
If you give a kid a car in high school, just think of like, I didn't have no car in high school.
I'm saying, think about all the stuff you got into that
without a car. So what I'm gonna do with a car?
You might have got more into the movies or so. You would have been in the woods.
This man Devontae too lacks though. He lacks in every category of violence.
How so?
He like, I wouldn't be super mean, and I would give a lot. And I would kiss them every night. I'm like, dang, what is your area where you like, yeah, this is something I am kind of a little tight or I'm controversial in this. I feel like you are, whenever you said grade, yeah, what's the grades thing?
F is not an option, really, kind of, sort of like.
Shit, that's regular.
I'm saying, okay. Some people.
What is your area that you like? This is real, because you gotta think. What people don't, what I don't think you think about, or what a lot of people don't think about is you have to look at what you and your spouse is y'all highlights. What is y'all powerful traits that make y'all a good duo?
Right.
And how could we possibly instill this in our kids? They don't. They may not just get it off the jump. And I'm saying, if you ain't gonna push sports, you're not. Oh, you got it. Kenzie look like he might push sports. If you're not pushing an above average academic,
I'm pushing activity.
So what is that? What is that coming out to? Like,
I'm saying, like,
clubs and
kids don't get a car if they don't have 2 clubs.
You got to be going somewhere with it, like, other than out. Like, let's say you really got to do something after school.
Just keep going.
If you got to do something after school, that's warranted. Like, all right, I ain't finna be picking you up all the time, so yeah, you need to do that. Other than that, you know what I'm saying? Like, it don't have to be like, oh, it's 2 clubs exactly, but you need to be somewhat active and building up on something.
To the point, yeah, it's an annoyance that you take him somewhere.
If the man play football, he get a car sophomore year.
Nah, you better find a ride. That also build character. Like, hey, find a way home. I don't feel like
you I'm saying it's just football enough.
Junior year.
Okay,
that's what I said. Junior, senior year.
I'm saying, maybe. I don't know, because I was younger in my age, so like it just timed out that I got my whip.
But do you not feel like you were above average in a lot of categories?
I was.
So I'm saying, like, you got
sophomore year is far too early. Yeah.
You a 3.6 GPA dude. I want you to just say with your chest, like, yeah, she ain't got a 3.4 or more. Like, it's got to be sub 3. A 3 is too attainable. That's too.
I just can't even think about that. Like, I can't think about below a 3.0.
Yeah, I look in the mirror and
we got other issues right now.
We would have had whip, bro. All throughout high school, like whipping, like 10th grade. Scary. I wouldn't.
Kenzie trying to stop people from having sex.
Not even that. It's just you're not gonna enjoy a lot of things because there's people we met like at South Paul in the way they was partying in high school. I'm like, I didn't even enjoy college.
You have scummier sex when you don't have a whip.
That's what you think?
Yeah.
So what you think? You're elegant?
I'm saying, okay, like, think about this. If you got a whip and you going, like, they going to do it regardless. If they going to do it regardless, they going to do it regardless. If you don't got a whip, you can at least do it right at the right time.
There's a lot of niggas I know that if they would have had a whip for 4 years of high school before college, it would have been a lot of juniors and little girls running around. It would have been bad.
It could go bad. Like, I'm not saying it can go bad. I'm just saying, like, I'm just thinking about me. When I didn't have a whip, I was in the woods doing crazy shit. When I got the whip, I was at the house at the right time when folks wasn't home and we was in bed doing it right.
It's about doing it right.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, if they gonna do it regardless, either your daughter, she gonna get picked up by an older nigga, or you rather have her do it right.
Yeah, you either want it in the old head car or in the one you bought. You right.
My thing is, see what Monte says, he's like, they're gonna do it regardless. I'm like, my thing is, a lot of girls and a lot of guys won't. Like, if you ain't got, there's a lot of, I would say, for a young high school girl who ain't had a sexual experience, a lot of them, if if I don't have a bed, nah, I'm good. Like, I might not do that. There's not every girl's like, yeah, bend me over in the woods. Let's get nasty. That's not every girl. Not every girl has that experience. Like, that's a wild experience. Like, to me, you kind of like, you getting it going. Like, you ready to get it going. Like, you might have a baby before 23. Like,
I'm saying it wasn't stopping me. No way. That's what I'm saying. You, like, if it ain't stopping them, then do it at a decent time. Like, I was getting dropped off at the movies doing stuff like that. Like
a little figure weight.
The movies is like that's
but that's regular. That's
regular.
That's regular, and it's also versus you get dropped off at the movies and knowing you come and do what you do for this hour and 30 minutes, however long the movie is with your fingers, or like you having that whip, like, hey, we could finish the job. Let's go. Put the seats down.
I'm with Kenzie. I wouldn't do it before junior year. If you get somebody sophomore year, you can have a nerdy son who literally learns the game and starts doing it before he gets out of high school. That's too much time.
I lost my virginity in the movies, bro. So I'm just saying, if it could happen, it could happen. But like, that wouldn't be where I want my individual to lose their virginity yet. Because if they drove, I would have did it right. But I got to ride.
In a movie. I also want to just state that is wild.
But also, I would say, yeah, you was out of mind. I feel like in that time, you was just like a calculated, I want to do this. Like,
and you wrapped it up and you were smart.
And I remember I was in the same time, like, I just want to play basketball. Like, let's just play. Like, so I know where the variation in mindsets could be. Like,
I'm just saying, like.
But I get you saying, yeah, if you.
It's girls in the neighborhood, in everybody's neighborhood. If somebody really wanted to do something, they'll find a way. That's all I'm saying. So might as well give them a whip, so I ain't got to pick them up and do it.
You're right. But, you know, we're going to be very biased for our sons anyway. I don't even want to speak on daughters. Like I said, I would trust my baby mother, my wife, whoever that may be, that she'll handle that. And I'll step in when need be. But if it's just my say so, it ain't going to be it. But I think you need a car for it.
That's a whole other episode of the different rules.
Yeah. Let's skip that one.
I don't want to dive into that.
We're getting to another culture question. Oh, all right. Yeah. Well, actually, we're not. We're going to bring this episode to an end. You guys have been tuned in. We appreciate you coming into Perspective Junkies. Follow us on Instagram at Perspective Junkies Podcast and Twitter at PerspectiveJun1. PerspectiveJun1. Again, we appreciate you guys for tapping in. Continue to do so. Leave comments, reposts, all that. C Swank, I'm tuned out.
Peace.
Gone.